anything online, you have about 6 seconds to convince you who's listening to this to stay tuned for the entire recording. I encourage you. This recording is a gift. It's come into me because so many people in the last week have approached me with a similar problem, and I would assume that had you found this recording, that you may suffer or partake in the same problem. Now, I'm not here to offer you a coach's educated super decision. What I'm here to offer you is a way to enhance yourself, a way to continue your momentum. I use the analogy of a bike. You're already riding in one direction. I'm here to get behind you and push you. I'm not here to steer the bike. You take this as it is, and you take this and apply it to your life in the way that you feel necessary. And the reason is this is a spiritual truth. This is a different take on life. This is not something that anyone can come down with authority and say, this is how it is, this is the way it needs to be. But you, as your own observer of the universe, your own conscious power, you can take this message and apply it the way you want to. And some people will be turned off by that because they like the authoritative approach, and that's more of my education style. However, this style, it's a different side of me. It's a different expression. And the reason that I had made this and the reason I'm using this approach is I want you to just listen. You can throw in the headphones, go on a walk, clean the house. You don't have to necessarily stay sit, but I just want you to invest the next however long this takes and just hear this. You don't have to take notes. You don't have to digest it all, but there's going to be a piece, at least somewhere along the lines, that you're going to pick up. And what I'm going to be discussing today is the monster of internalization, what that means and how it's so destructive. And this message has come as a result of working with multiple people this week that have the same issue. And I am including myself. I have also partaken in the demon of internalization. So I figure if this many people are coming into me, there must be some sort of higher power or spiritual truth pushing us as a community into this education. And what we're looking at is internalizing feelings, meaning you're having some distress. It's always negative, but you've learned to hold those feelings inside. You've learned not to express them. You've learned that the most proper way to handle a negative experience is to deal with it yourself. You know, things like no one wants to hear about your shit, right? No one wants to hear about your pain. No one wants to hear suffering. No one has time for that. Everyone's got problems. Yeah, true, but everyone's got problems, but no one's problems. You shouldn't judge anyone's pain as less than your own, but no one's problems are more relevant than yours. And I have met, literally this week, 1, 2, 3, 4 different people whose internalization is essentially hindering their growth, causing destructive behaviors. And not super destructive. They're not in the streets slamming heroin or doing some crazy things, but they're not growing. They're stuck, and they want to grow. And you may be in the same boat. You may want to grow, but you don't know how. And I'm here to share with you that a way to catapult your success, a way to launch yourself into the future, is to understand what internalization is and why I'm doing it, and how eventually to stop. And most internalization begins in childhood as what we call hereditary, part of a family dynamic. You know, children feel and find that it's easier to not express problems, not express feelings, because the parents then do not have to, quote unquote, parent them, right? It's easy to come off as perfect. It's the same thing. No one wants to hear about your problems. No one's really complaining. All of which is a lie. So we've learned this trait. We've kept this trait. And a lot of people just go on through life like that. And if something bad happens, they don't tell anybody about it. If something distressing them, they hold it inside. And when you hold these feelings inside, they have a catabolic or essentially self-destructing effect. Because energy that's not dissipated, it's not expanded out or reformed, is essentially going to start eating itself through a form of magnetism. Like attracts like. And for the internalizer, for the, oh, I'm fine person, everything's okay person, even though it's not, their magnetism, their energy is just attracting more damage and attracting more pain and attracting this suffering. And then this is the kind of people on a super extreme level that all of a sudden just kill themselves and everyone thought they were okay. Clearly, that may not be you. That may be you. I know people like that, and in that situation, what we need to learn, folks, and what I want to give you today is what can we do about internalization, right? What can we do? And the answer is simple: is you need to express yourself. Now, does this mean going on Facebook and posting all your problems? Most definitely not. Does this mean calling up your mom and having a 5-hour cry sesh? Probably not. But what this means is I need to first genuinely analyze my feelings. I need to look at my emotional state. And I need to admit that even something as small as I want to have more cheese with my eggs in the morning can be causing a significant emotional distress. And if I don't express that emotional distress, it will catabolize, it will eat me, and eventually will lead to more emotional stress. So the solution to the problem is, folks, first and foremost, is we need to build support around ourselves, what I would call the God Squad, just because it rhymes and is funny. If you're not spiritual, it doesn't matter. If you're agnostic, atheist, whatever, you just need a support system. And these are people that you know and trust. These are people that you can tell them you're having X, Y, and Z problem, and they're not going to jump all over you or tell you to shut up or tell you to, sack up. These are people that, genuinely want to see you better. You have at least one, I guarantee that. And if you don't, you probably have medical insurance. Go get a therapist. They're paid to do these things. Or message me, folks. That's what I'm here for. Now, what you want to do in this expression, right? This isn't pity session, right? This isn't just cry about your problems. A lot of people can do that. What this is I am taking the time to genuinely express what is bothering me in a way that is honest. A lot of times people go, oh, I'm just really unhappy in my relationship, but it's not that big a deal. It's whatever. No, it is that big a deal. And it's not whatever. And it is bothering you. Right? But you need to say it. You need to get it out. Usually having a support structure is good. There are ways to do this interpersonally, meaning by yourself. Or personally, whatever that is. Intrapersonally, I think. So, and I'll get to those in a little bit second. But I want to talk about just having the support. Now, look, a lot of people think, I don't want to burden people. I don't want to complain. It's like, look. It's a burden, and you know this, when someone calls you and they just rant endlessly about their problems, right? Ranting. This is not the way. This is not my discussion. What we can do, folks, is let it out. Say all your shit. Say, this sucks. Pause. Ask for help. What can I do about this? What's the solution to this problem? And actually listen. Now, people who know me close, they know that I am highly defensive. Comes with the territory of being a fighter, right? I, by nature, will reject what you say. I'm a default no person. However, what sets me apart is I always will listen to other people's advice. I will hear you. I'm not going to shut you down automatically. I'm going to hear you, right? I will say no. We'll have a little debate. If you have a higher, more convincing argument, I will accept your truth. I'm very humble in that sense. Also, I take time to reflect on what people have said, and I do change my mind. So listen to people. They may give you the worst advice in the entire world, but that's okay, because you heard their advice. And what happens is, anytime someone presents you with a solution, even if it's a garbage solution, that's going to reaffirm in your mind what you actually need. Because saying no to one thing is saying yes to other. Hey, Susie, I'm having a lot of time with this guy. He's just not present, and I feel like he's not giving me enough attention. Problem. Her solution. You know what you should do? Dump his ass. Get rid of him. You hear that? You're like, that's a terrible idea. However, now you have reaffirmed that, okay, dumping him is a terrible idea. I don't want to dump him. I see that there is a connection. I see that there is a bond. And it sends you down this path. This does not take much effort, folks. What it takes is bravery. And what it takes is a genuine trust of somebody else that you can express your feelings towards. You need to make these people. You need to find these people. It may not be your parents. It may not be your siblings. It may not be your best friend, but there are people out there who do support you. I know people that are genuinely invested in others, including myself, though I do give hard advice. Just warning. So, when we do this internalization is we learn to express it. We learn to create a safe place. We learn to find people that can support us. A lot of times, it's not who you think it is. A lot of times, it's not. It's usually not your parents. It's usually not people that have been deeply invested in you. It's usually people who you've agreed to support each other. And a lot of times it can be a professional. It could be a life coach. It could be a therapist. There's no shame in these things. And that is a very, very powerful lesson that I would encourage people to partake in, is finding a safe person, finding a safe place. And if you don't have one, folks, you need to create one. Put in the effort and find it. It'll be infinitely rewarding, and your success will just be magnified. Now, I want to talk about how you could do this on your own. Because a lot of people, including myself when I was younger, had a hard time identifying feelings. I had internalized everything for so long that my emotions were this just amalgamation, cesspool, collage, whatever you want to call it, chaos. Everything just felt like, oh. So I needed to find ways to identify my feelings. And this is self-expression. This is journaling, right? This is art. This is talking to yourself. This is, to-do lists and things of this nature, sitting in reflection. A lot of times it involves writing, and it's looking at things. I used to use a feelings wheel and look at the wheel and say, what am I feeling? When you take the time for self-expression like this, you'll be able to clarify your emotions more, and you'll be surprised. There is a technique called free writing where you just write nonstop. I'd start with like 3 minutes. And by the second minute, you may run out of things to say, but then all of a sudden there'll be this burst of this deep underlying thing. I can't believe he doesn't pay attention to me. It bothers me so much. And you'll surprise yourself. You'll go, whoa, I didn't even know that was in there. And that's the layers you want to get to, folks. That's what you're internalizing. That's the deep-rooted seated, we'll call it the seed of Satan, the seed of all evil. That's where you want to get to, folks. And I know not everyone wants to dive in super deep, but I promise you that if you're dedicated to self-growth, you're going to want to dive in. And the gurus, right? The masters of self-improvement, the Tony Robbins, the Jack Canfields, they will encourage on a regular basis self-reflection. I mean, that's a lot of what their workshops are about, right? What are your goals? What are your visions? What are your purposes? What are your strengths? These are all ways of self-reflecting. What are your weaknesses? What are you scared of? What are your fears? And that's a big, big value of these programs. And I love those guys, by the way. And there's hundreds more people that are just like that. Very good. Take the time for self-expression. However, if you were like me in my 20s, if all you do is self-expression, you're going to play tricks on yourself, because no one knows yourself better than yourself. Things will still hide. Solutions you can't see will not present themselves. That's what other people are for. And that takes courage, folks. I understand it is not an easy task to open yourself to somebody else, especially with the fear that they might hurt you, that the advice might be too hard, that they might use it against you. But I assure you that if you take the bold move, the action of opening yourself to the right person, and by the right person I've discussed before is someone that you can know and trust and is willing to support you, you will be rewarded immensely. Immense reward. There's just how it is. And the more that you do this, the more courage you get, the easier it will be. This does not mean to wear your heart on the sleeve, folks. I do not believe in that. I do not think everyone needs to know your business. I do not think everyone needs to know your problems. I'm not thinking to vocalize all your issues. But there are things that you are currently dealing with that you have tricked yourself do not need to be addressed. You have tricked yourself they may not exist. You've tricked yourself to say they're not important. Those are important. Those are the things holding you back. Those are the things holding you back. And if you want to move forward in your life, you want to have growth, you need to dive into the self, and you need to pull out things. And I had this conversation last night. Actually, I had this conversation multiple times yesterday. You can't go too fast, right? Don't find a new support system and then just go balls to the wall telling your entire life story. Call it dropping the hammer. Go slow, piece by piece. Build trust, build support. Start with something basic. Start with the fact like, hey, I don't like the way my body looks. I was honest. Good for you. Hell yeah. And what I've done as a personal change is, open myself more to this. But when someone has the courage to express that vulnerability, I congratulate them. I say, wow, that's really hard. I'm glad you actually said that. It takes a lot of courage. That's new for me, folks. That's the challenge for me. And it's good. And it's amazing. And what you'll find is as you do this more, you're going to have less emotional buildup. You're going to have less explosions, right? You're going to have less moods, less bad days. You're going to find solutions that used to baffle you. You're going to be able to figure out things more intuitively. It really is just this ultimate power that it goes unnoticed. And I'll wrap up things here. I'll probably go about another 5 minutes in terms of how we can apply this in action. You guys know I'm a very action-oriented person. Is we need to express. Maybe start with a self. Start with a close friend. Start to look at these things. Go slow. Go slow in your self-expression, right? Give yourself time. Give yourself patience. Hard to do. Don't, and when this is a video game term, but like, don't go after the level 99 monster. Don't go after the hardest monster first, right? If I know I've been insecure about my body my whole life, I'm not going to go after that one first. I'm not going to go after my deepest rooted, most painful insecurity. Start slow. Start with the fact that you don't clean your room. Start with the fact that, you know, you're behind on your to-do list or whatever. Start with smaller things and then dive in more as you get stronger, find more courage. In terms of people, vet people, right? Weed them out. Be like, hey, this person genuinely did not support me. I'm not going to be vulnerable with them. Set boundaries. They don't have to be verbal boundaries, right? You don't have to go, hey, that was really painful and mean advice. I'm never going to talk to you again. You don't have to say that, right? You just genuinely assess and go, okay, like, I understand this person's not in a place to offer me support. And support will come, folks, if you find it. If you search for it, it will come. There are people out there who support you. I support you. I don't know who you are, but I do. That's just what I do. And piece by piece, you'll build up slow. And you'll start to express. And this applies to your health, folks. This could be one of the most important things to your health, because, you know, being a health coach, being involved in fitness my entire life, working on this nutrition, all these things, I realized the body is a slave to the mind. That if the mind has not had the opportunity to heal and to fulfill, it doesn't matter what you do for your body. It will not be satisfying. That I know people who are in perfect shape who are miserable because they don't work on their mindset. And I know people who are in horrible shape because they don't work on their mindset. You are stuck. You are suffering because you have lacked the ability to express yourself. Guaranteed. Same thing every time. Right? But the path is wide, the gate is narrow, folks. It's easy for me to sit here and say, oh, you internalize your feelings. That's easy. It's open to everyone. However, the narrow gate is taking action and doing it slowly but surely. This is not a quick fix solution, and I know people hate when they say that. But what's cool about this problem, or this issue, or this system, the results are so fast. It's not going to fix it overnight, but the results are instant. You like instant gratification? Take 2 minutes, do a free write, call somebody, express yourself. I guarantee within the next 8 minutes, you're going to freaking feel like $1 million. And may only last 2 hours or an hour, but you will feel amazing. I guarantee that. Instant gratification and the harmony and the congruence that comes with this experience will multiply moving forward into this burst of love and essentially power. And this is actually in the Bible, I don't have hope for you, honestly. I know it's kind of like effed up, but like, you're probably not going to do it. People, you know, consume endless content online, don't do anything about it. I've done that. I'm not immune to that. But if you heard this, if you took the 18 minutes, the 19 minutes to listen to this, it's at least in there. The seed has been planted. But also get angry at me. Say, F you, Evan. I'm going to do this anyways. Use it. Force yourself. Take action. Take pride. Go ahead. I doubt you. I doubt that you will do this. But those who do will be infinitely rewarded. And I guarantee that. I promise you that with all of my heart and all of my strength. Why else would I do this? Why else is this so important? and I'll wrap up, I can teach you anything you want to know about the body. I promise you that. I would spend a lifetime of thinking to do so. But it will not matter if you do not change your mental and emotional bodies. It will not matter if you do not change your mindset. Change the mind and the body will follow. Okay? If you guys like this, please like and subscribe if you want to post this on YouTube. I do appreciate you having taken the time to listen to me. I know a lot of people do, and I really, really respect that, and I honor that in you. And I'm just speaking from the heart. It's a little bit different, something totally different. Sunday special edition. All right, so with that, I'm Evan, and I love you.